For decades, psychotherapy was split into two camps. On one side, traditional psychoanalysis dove into the isolated mind of the individual, mapping out early childhood trauma and unconscious desires, while treating the family as distant background characters. On the other side, early family systems therapies emerged. These practitioners treated the family like a group mechanism, analyzing the structural rules that kept the gears turning, while viewing the individual's inner emotional life as an irrelevant black box. Eventually, clinicians realized they needed a way to connect the depth of the individual psyche to the mechanics of the group. That bridge is object relations family counseling. This bridge is necessary because family dynamics are dictated by a web of secret inner lives, where group rules are constantly shaped by private emotional histories. The object relations model starts with a specific tension. Every person carries repressed emotions or lost parts of themselves, feelings or needs that are too painful or dangerous to process on their own. To cope, people use a defense mechanism called projection. They unconsciously offload these hidden emotional burdens onto other family members, forcing their loved ones to carry that weight for them. Take a husband who grew up terrified of his father. Unable to safely process that childhood resentment, he might unconsciously provoke his wife into explosive arguments, essentially demanding that she hold the anger he could never express himself. This is a genogram of the Quest family, mapping out relationships and historical problems across multiple generations. You can trace how unresolved trauma from the grandparents' generation creates specific emotional blockages for the parents, who then unconsciously project those same blockages onto their children. When a family presents with surface-level chaos, the therapist views it as the end result of this hidden psychological blueprint. The system breaks down because the individuals inside it are projecting their unhealed wounds onto each other. Integrating the individual into the family system took decades of evolution. The roots trace back to Sigmund Freud and his foundational drive psychology, which argued that human behavior is motivated by internal impulses. Psychoanalysts like Melanie Klein widened Freud's lens. By directly studying actual children, they demonstrated the impact of early development and the child's first internal images of their parents. This approach evolved through John Bowlby's attachment theory, eventually culminating in the work of modern pioneers David and Jill Savage-Scharf. The Scharfs took these depth psychology concepts and engineered them into a fully functional family therapy model, allowing therapists to treat the entire room without losing sight of the individual mind. In clinical practice, object relations counselors usually step into the room when a family is in a state of absolute chaos. The counselor reveals just enough of themselves to show they are present, while otherwise acting as a blank screen. This allows them to absorb the chaos and actively invite transference. Transference occurs when clients project their unresolved needs, fears, and early relationship patterns directly onto the therapist. The family begins to treat the counselor the way they treat each other, or the way they were treated as children. Once the therapist sees these dynamics playing out, they deploy the workhorse intervention of this model, the interpretation. To make an accurate interpretation, the therapist tracks affect. They look for subtle, real-time emotional cues happening in the room, a sudden shift in posture, an interrupted sentence, or a flash of temper. The therapist feeds this real-time data back to the family. They point out the clenching fist or the dirty look as it happens, translating those automatic physical reactions into the deeper ideas and emotions fueling them. By centering the session on the emotional reality of the here and now, the therapist brings these invisible habits into the light. Seeing the specific mechanics of a defensive projection allows a family to stop the cycle and try a new way of relating. Practitioners aim to help the family move from crisis into the construction of a holding space, a reliable emotional environment for every member. The Scharfs compare the family to a garden. The system provides the shared holding capacity, the soil and the protective fences, which in turn supports the care and development of the individual plants inside it. In this scenario, the therapist is not the primary gardener. They are a temporary consultant, called in when the original caretakers get stuck in patterns that no longer yield healthy results. The goal is for the therapist to become unnecessary. The process teaches the family members to become effective gardeners themselves, capable of sustaining the environment required for every individual to thrive. Because this work is so deeply reconstructive, it requires a significant, long-term commitment. Unwinding decades of psychological defenses is a slow process. That time-intensive nature also makes the therapy expensive. As a result, there is a real barrier to access, often putting this level of care out of reach for lower-income families. There are also historical blind spots. The model's early reliance on attachment theories often placed the burden of family success or failure almost entirely on the mother-child bond. Modern practitioners must actively examine their own biases regarding gender and class to apply these tools fairly and move past this legacy of mother-blaming. Ultimately, object relations family counseling operates on the premise that families are not machines with broken parts to be realigned. Lasting systemic healing requires the courage to illuminate and heal the hidden, unconscious wounds of the individuals living inside it.